So I saw the first episode of Moon Knight, and it's pretty damn good. This is probably the best they've done. I mean, most of the Marvel shows have shown a little bit of promise here and there, like WandaVision, and then just fizzled into crap. Hopefully this doesn't do the same, but this is a really good start. Now, right off the bat, it's not quite the Moon Knight I've known through the comics. It is very much in line with most recent interpretations of Moon Knight I've seen, rather than the comics from the early 80s and whatnot. Basically, if you saw the trailer, you've got a pretty good idea what the first episode will be about, and that's a lot of what you get. There's some great action in it. There's all kinds of crazy stuff. Is this real? Is it not? It looks like they're going with it. It's real. And in keeping with this is the MCU, Doctor Strange exists in it, and all that stuff has happened, so it's not that big of a deal that this guy's a pawn of an ancient Egyptian deity. So that's basically what you've got here. Is there's this battle between the gods here, where Khonshu, the deity that possesses our character here, who you're introduced primarily to Stephen Grant of the three personalities that he possesses. I guess you could say there's probably 5 in total. There's Stephen Grant, Mark Spector, Jake Lockley, Moon Knight, and Mr. Knight. I don't know if that's how they'll do it all. They seem to be saying that Mark Spector is Moon Knight, so that's the personality that is Moon Knight, so I guess that's how they're going with it. But that's the deal. He's basically a pawn of this deity, and there's this cult around another Egyptian deity who Amenet, and that's the Ethan Hawke character. He's basically the leader of this cult. I guess he's pretty much the pawn of this goddess, very much like Stephen Grant is a pawn of Khonshu. So we don't know the origin story just yet. Well, I know it from the comics, but I'm guessing they'll get into it. As for the multiple personality disorder, I'm guessing they'll keep that's within himself rather than being a result of Khonshu taking him over. That he just has this problem and has no idea of these other lives that he's lived. So there's evidence of it, that he has this life as this mercenary, but as far as he's concerned, he's just this gift shop guy at a museum that has all this, Egyptian sets and whatnot and relics in there for him to deal with. But he's aware there's something wrong with him. And he's basically this lowly, difficult, socially awkward guy. That's not how it was in the comics. I think it originally began that he had these aliases as just to have them for the purpose of being aliases, but eventually that becomes, he's these 3 different people and that sort of thing. So Stephen Grant was basically the Bruce Wayne of the bunch. He masqueraded as this playboy. He was wealthy and all this sort of thing. So the distance then further from the Batman motif to just get rid of that one and turn him into this guy. But he's aware there's problems because there's evidence all around. So he's thinking he's got a severe sleepwalking problem. So he basically chains himself to his bed. His foot is tied up so that he can't leave the bed. He has sand all around the floor so that you can see if he got up and walked out. He has tape on the door. Because, he's losing his mind over this and he doesn't understand what's going on. And then at one point, suddenly he goes to bed and he suddenly wakes up and he's, I don't know, in another country somewhere, and he's in the middle of this business with this cult. And there's a big chase scene, and then he goes in and out, and suddenly he wakes up, and he's beaten the crap out of all the thugs, probably killed them. There's blood on his hands and everything. And it's all about this cult of Amenet. So he doesn't know what's going on, but then he wakes up back in his bed again. He thinks, oh, thank God, it was all just a dream. And then he's lost several days. He was supposed to have a date with this girl, And he didn't even know he had the date with the girl. So obviously it must have been Mark Spector put the moves on this girl. He's more confident and capable. But he fails to show up because he was all off on some adventure somewhere. And he thinks it's Friday, but it's actually Sunday and this sort of thing. So it all comes to a head. Well, he thought the whole ordeal was a dream, but then he sees Ethan Hawke's character and his goons come after him and at the museum and all that sort of stuff. So he's, oh, God, it's all real. And ultimately, he's confronted by the Mark Spector personality. He talks to himself in the mirror and he says, you got to let me take over. And that's when you actually get Moon Knight. You only get to see him for a couple of seconds because this, I don't know, Egyptian dog demon that comes chasing after him, and he turns into Moon Knight and beats the crap out of it. It's really good. It's going off on its own tangents here. It does borrow more elements of recent comics, not so much the overall Moon Knight story, because Moon Knight was one of these characters. He did have this mystical origin, and sometimes, depending on who approached it, it seemed to insinuate it might all be in his head, and others was, no, Khonshu's real and all that. The show is going with it's real. But their presentation is well done. It's well shot. The pacing is good. It's an interesting journey here. And Steve Grant is one of these characters that's basically a vehicle by which the viewer explores the world of this story, of Moon Knight. And that's how they're going to handle it here. So, of course, he knows nothing about this. And through him, you're going to learn the whole story. So I guess they'll get to the actual origin where as a mercenary, he died and was left for dead inside this old Egyptian tomb, and so the god Khonshu brings him back to life to be his pawn, his avatar, what have you, he's the fist of Khonshu. That's the so anyway, it was really good, even though it is a bit far afield from the source material, but it's borrowing a lot from it. Moon Knight, with its mystical origins, was very much a street level character, much like Daredevil and even Spider-Man, and he was often in that world. But it looks like they're going more for the mystical stuff, even though he does all this mercenary stuff. So hopefully we might get some of that, depending on how well this goes, and maybe there'll be even crossovers with the likes of Daredevil and stuff like that. That could be. But perhaps just to follow this mystical stuff and supernatural elements with the gods is just to set up how he's able to do this and what his origins are. So, finally, after how many shows, they might actually have an actual hit here, provided they don't mess it up. But it's just a matter of seeing how they will, I guess. Hopefully not, because most of these shows have just been pretty bad. And that's unfortunate, and especially when a lot of it was just absolutely unnecessary. Could have had a good show. The worst of them still remains to be Falcon and Winter Soldier, but we'll see. But right now, I haven't had any of the shows open up and have me completely excited. This one did it, so hopefully they don't mess it up. As of late, with Disney's choices and things they're doing, it's ever so hard to maintain a subscription to this service, and I can't guarantee that I can keep doing that. They're doing really god awful things, and it's hard to have anything to do with it, which is unfortunate because in a big company you can have different employees and projects and whatnot that don't necessarily deserve to be blamed with the rest of them on whatever it is they're doing, but that's just the trouble it is. So probably it takes a long time to get through the Beatles documentary, which I'm enjoying, but I have so little time to devote to something like that. So it could very well, when I'm finished with that, probably gonna cancel out again. Yeah. Maybe I'll wait and see what Kenobi does, but I don't know. It's all very sad, especially considering it looks like Moon Knight's going to be a pretty good series. They finally got one, it looks like. It's only one episode, but anyway, we'll see what we'll see.